Hello, everyone. Today, I wanted to talk about one of the favorite data sources for the Power Platform, which is Dataverse. And to start, I want to review the basics for making tables and talk about Dataverse in general for a second. Dataverse is native to the Power Platform and your Power App. So, being native to Power Apps, you don't need a special data connector for it. When you make other data connections, you have to use API middlemen, such as for SharePoint or SQL, which makes Dataverse a great option for performance. For example, if I look at this Power App here, I don't have any data connectors, as you can see here. But if I go to select a data source for this gallery I just added, I can pick one of the Dataverse tables, which are immediately available to select. It's also great when getting into Power App functions surrounding delegation issues. Certain functions like search won't return all the data in the Power App if SharePoint is a source if there's a large amount of items. There are workarounds and strategies for that though, but you don't have to worry about that if Dataverse is your data source. But regardless of the data source, Power App stores some of the behind the scenes within Dataverse, even if it's not a direct data source. Certain apps only use Dataverse, which are the model driven apps and Power Pages. Canvas apps, you can choose additional ones. So let's start by making a table. Dataverse tables use the familiar rows and columns methods like lists in SharePoint or Excel sheets. So on make.powerapps.com, you'll notice under tables over here, there are various methods to create a Dataverse table. The first one, which says, describe the new table, is Copilot base. So let's go ahead and click that here. So you'll notice in the right corner here, basically what you do is it'll ask you questions like, what do you want to do with this table? You can say, I want to make an employee tracker list with these types of columns, and it will create one for you. Then you can go back and manually adjust the output later if you like. So great way to get started. We're primarily going to be focusing on the blank table today, but just want to let you know about some of the other options. The next one here, if we go down here, upload an Excel file. So when you click upload an Excel file, that one's pretty straightforward. Import an Excel file, make your adjustments as needed. You can rename columns. So it'll then operate as a Dataverse table. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. For creating a virtual table, this one's pretty interesting. It connects to data source behind the scenes like SharePoint or SQL, and the virtual table will read back to SharePoint or SQL, which gives you the ability to use those data sources for apps that need Dataverse, such as model driven or Power Pages. So let's create a new table. We'll start with the blank table. And here, this will be the primary column. So I'm going to do like an employee roster, and we'll click save. Just make sure these column names make sense. And we'll edit this column here. We'll give this last name. We'll keep it single line of text. Make it required. Update. Actually, what we'll do is we'll actually add the rest of the columns once we create the table. So let me just go ahead and create the table. And that'll take a second, so I will come back once that is made. All right, now that the table is made, we can go ahead and create some additional columns. So let's go to our table here. We'll click this plus sign. And we'll say first name. Here, again, I'll pick single line of text. If we look at advanced options, you'll notice one interesting property to notice is the maximum character count. The SharePoint list is typically 250. Here, it gives you 100 by default, and you can see the maximum is 4,000 for this type of field type. There are other ones. There's other text ones that have much higher ones, but for this purpose, we'll pick single line of text. Click save, and that will add the column here in a second. Then we'll add some other ones here of additional data types. Here we'll do higher date. So we'll look at the date fields for a second. So you'll notice there's date and time, and you have the option of date and time or date only. Date only is a simpler one. So if we pick date time, we look at advanced options. You'll notice here there are different options under this. So we have date only, user local, and time zone independent. Date only is the simplest one. So the date you put in there will show for everybody. This one is more. This will come up more with date and time. So like if you actually use the date and time field, if we like date and time. So this one doesn't even give you the date option. Like this one, it says user local and time zone independent. User local, it'll convert the time to the user's time, which can get confusing. And this one, puts it in as it was put in. So I don't know. I would say if you want to keep it simple and you're able to do that, I would just use date only. I can get into more of that if need be as well. Another type of column we could create would be a multi-text one. So let's say notes. If I go here, we'll see we want to put a text, and let's pick something like a rich text area. Here, I believe we'll have a much higher. Okay, this one's still 4,000. So let's find the one that is the larger text one. So which one? Oh, okay, multiple lines of text. Okay, there it is. So rich text, and then if we pick a much larger number, so you can see here the maximum for this one is, let's see, what number is that? It's like 1 million. Blah blah blah. So much, many more characters you can put in here for your rich text field. Those are some typical ones you'll pick. For choice field, you have the option to, when you make your choice field, to use it so that other tables can use it, or you can just create it just so this one uses it. And when you get here, you'll see your prompt, and you just create the choice field name. You put the different choices for it, and then you can put a value over here, like maybe 1, 2, 3, or whatever you like for that. So let's go ahead and get out of that. One I guess one thing to note is, once you're done with your table, if you want, you can export the data to Excel. It takes a minute for that to load, so I'll just kind of show you right there. That's what you would click. But that's if you prefer working in Excel. But that's an initial overview of Dataverse. There will be some upcoming videos that include model-driven apps, which is heavily relies on Dataverse. Dataverse powers model-driven apps, so we'll go into that more then. But thanks for watching. Leave a comment if any questions, or feel free to reach out if you want me to go over anything in more detail. Thanks a lot.